Hello mate, thanks ever so much for clicking on the video. Be sure to subscribe, like, comment and hit the bell notification so you can keep up to date with all our latest episodes that we release. See you on the dance floor. So welcome back to another Music Matters podcast, and today I'm joined with Le3sa and Kasia. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having us.
How did you get into your music journeys? Where did it all start for both of you? Like, what got you into that path?
Yeah, I started doing music in my early 20s, but it wasn't until, I guess, when the pandemic started in 2020 that I started producing. I went from not being able to produce at all to taking some private lessons, and I released my first track, I guess, mid-2020.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, so it's like fairly new to me, but...
And like, what was the what was the course that you took to do that?
The course that I took?
Yeah, to like learn producing, the private lessons.
I wanted to learn from, I guess, the best that I could. So I went and I looked into who was certified to teach Ableton. And there's like, I think 3 people at that time in BC that were able to, were actually certified. Yep. And yeah, so I found Sam Ryan and I started doing, I guess, weekly lessons, like private, like Zoom lessons with him. And yeah. That's
cool. What about you, Le3sa? How did you get into it?
Well, I've been doing music since I was pretty young.
Yeah.
And I started doing like kind of like acoustic stuff, and then was in a few bands in high school. And then I realized that a lot of the times, like, the bands would break up. So then I thought, oh, well, how can I do this just all on my own? So then I started doing more like electronic music production, because then you can make all of the instruments and then combine them together. So then I watched a lot of YouTube, and then I went to like an audio recording school and then learned the engineering part, and then now here I am just making music.
I find that when I've had people in the past before, they've all come from like band backgrounds, and they've all said the same thing. They have a band, trying to keep them together, people drop out, come back in, and they just struggle to keep it together. Then they all sort of go off to their own venture. So I can understand where you come from. I've heard that story many times actually. So, and like, what sort of influences did you have in electronic music when you got into it?
A lot of things. I listened to like a lot of genres of music. I think back then I was listening to a lot of Deadmau5 and like kind of the newer like indie electronic stuff like Sylvan Esso, stuff like that. Yeah. That's
cool. Yeah. What about you? Like,
I grew up on Tupac and Biggie.
I mean, that's wicked. Yeah.
So for the longest time, I like love hip hop.
Yeah.
I'm just like not a rapper at all.
Have you heard UK grime?
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
I don't know. When I come to Canada, everyone's like, I listen to rap, or I used to listen to rap.
Yeah.
I'm like, have you ever heard UK rap, like UK grime?
I think actually, yeah.
Yeah. We call it grime, but it's technically UK rap to other people, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. There's some really great artists.
Yeah, like Skepta's one of them.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Yeah, Skepta, Wiley, Dizzy Rascal, and there's so many. But like, going into the electronic scene in Vancouver, like, how did you sort of see the scene when you first started, like getting into your music scene here? Like, how, I know you went through it with COVID, but like, how did you see yourself to sort of be like, right, I like this music, I like these genres, like, how am I going to get into this scene? Like, did you train yourself with the right people, or how was your approach to it?
I mean, one of the labels that I'm signed with it's like an all-women female label out of LA. And when I came across Le3sa, I was like, hey, like, your music is amazing. Do you want to be part of this label? So we started kind of collaborating through that. And that's when she's like, I do silent disco stuff. Do you want to collaborate on that? I'm like, yeah, okay. And it was cool because for me, like I said, I still think I'm finding my sound. I definitely am. I think as humans, we're all evolving. We're all finding,
Yeah, I think we all are, no matter how long you've done it for, right?
Yeah.
And it evolves over the years.
Absolutely.
Didn't it? So
yeah, it took me quite a while to be like, because I had a lot of producers growing up, and people would produce music for me, and I just never really felt like it was the right fit, which was another thing that kind of inspired me to learn it all myself, just do it myself. Yeah. So it wasn't until this summer that I really started to, it was almost like a market research thing. It's like, what kind of music do we play that people really like? You know, we're DJing like every weekend. We're like, okay, cool. Like, this makes people move a little bit more, you know, like, why would they do? So it was just really watching the people and seeing what's popular, kind of.
Yeah.
And what do I like too? Like, what do I want to make? What do I like to listen to?
Yeah, I think there's always, I don't know, like, it's always, for me, there's always like a, do you do it for the likes or do you do it for the passion? I always tell people, do it for the passion, and then the people, the likes will follow, like, later on.
If you have good taste.
If you have good taste, right? That's true as well, yeah. You got shit taste, and yeah. Some people do it for the likes. There's some big DJs out there.
Yeah.
That have paid a ghost producer to get the likes and get the following and to DJ, yeah.
Yeah. And I get that.
I get it too, yeah. I do.
I've heard a couple artists say recently that something that really like resonated with me is that it's like they do it for the fans, but they really do it for themselves. You know, like when a musician will make music because it's them communicating their feelings, or a way to like journal. You know, I'm writing up my feelings. This is like, you know, it's a form of therapy, I guess. And I guess that's my take on how I produce music and like why I do music.
Yeah, I'm the same.
It's like for me, but it's also if other people can that resonates with other people as well, then it's just like, wow, you know, like I'm going through this door because this is open, this is amazing.
Yeah,
so.
I find that as well, like when I've done when I produce music, depending on my mood on that day, you could tell by the sound that I've created that day.
Totally. I listen back to some music, I'm like, oh my god.
Like if I'm stuck in traffic and people piss me off, then it's going to be some hard shit. But if it's like, I've had a good day today, it's kind of a bit more mellow.
Yeah.
So I see what I can resonate with.
Yeah.
Like,
I've had some exes like, stop writing music songs about me.
And what about you, Lisa? Like, how does it go for you when you're breaking into your sound, like into the Vancouver scene?
Well, I've kind of dabbled in a lot of genres. So I started doing kind of like indie electronic stuff. And so I was mostly preparing my show for a lot of years. So I wrote like a ton of music, and then I was trying to figure out like how I can play that live. So I was doing it with Ableton, and then I'd like switch between the instruments and then like sing at the same time kind of thing. And then I like programmed the lights to go with it. So like when I launch the scene thing in Ableton, the lights are going with it. So it's kind of like doing it all on my own kind of thing.
That's sick, yeah.
And then I was going to do like a tour, and then the pandemic happened.
Yeah.
So I kind of was like, oh, what am I going to do now? And then I started going out to these underground like secret concerts, and a lot of it was like DJing.
Yeah.
So then I was like, well, like I've been producing for a long time, so I was like, why don't I try DJing? So I went to this one festival, and I was like, hey, can I play? I had no idea how to use CDJs. I just like plugged the USB in and then just like did it, and I was like, oh, okay, this is fun. And then that's kind of how I got into the DJing, and then I've been like producing more like techno stuff for the DJing side.
Yeah. So
I went from like doing like rock to like, I guess kind of piano music to then indie electronic to now some techno.
You've kind of done similar to how it went in the UK in the 80s and the 90s, which was it went from punk rock in the 80s, right? And then they had the whole punk rave thing, and it went into electronic music. So it's kind of a similar journey for doing that. But like going in the deep end, just like whacking a CDJ, a USB and a CDJ, and be like, fuck, I'll just figure it out.
Yeah.
Sometimes the best way, isn't it? If you really think about it.
So intimidating. To
me. Like, did you have a crowd as well?
Yeah, it was like a festival. It was like a crowd of people, and then I just like my friend just like briefly was like, yeah, that's the play button, that's this, and then I was like, okay. Put it in, all my music loaded, and then I just played. Yeah,
there's a guy, a gentleman I interviewed, Cameron St. Dennis, do you know him? Yeah, and he said the same thing, if in doubt, fade it out. Sorry. And then just like whack another track back in. But how do you think the Vancouver scene's grown over time, like, for you guys, like in the music scene? Like, with you producing and then DJing, like, how have you grown with it, and how do you see the scene grow?
I think it's grown a lot since the pandemic in terms of like the underground scene. I think that really made like the underground scene like come more like mainstream, I guess. There's a lot more underground shows happening and things than there was like beforehand, it seems. I think there's a lot to offer in Vancouver. That's why I like interviewing people, because I think they've got so much, but the scene isn't so...
It's so new.
It's so new, do you know what I mean? Isn't it? And I think like there's so much fucking talent here, like there's so much, and it's not being shown. So like that's why I like meeting these people, because I think like you know, you've done so well. I think you've done well in the time frame that you guys have done your music.
Thanks.
And you know, I think coming into the scene brand new now, do you think it's easier or do you think it's more difficult, like getting into the scene now?
I mean, and by scene, do you mean like
the
DJing?
DJ and dance music scene, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I literally just started DJing a couple months, like 4 months ago. Like literally just.
Literally, eh?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I've been given a lot of really cool opportunities. I was actually supposed to be in Miami playing at a really cool show last weekend, but because I'm not fully vaccinated, apparently I can't get into the country.
Oh, okay.
So that was annoying.
Yeah.
But so, because I have, people wanting to book me in other cities now, which is crazy. Because I literally
mad,
but I love it. That's amazing. But like my thing is like, I like producing. I like being by myself in front of my computer with my glasses on, like producing music, you know, like I'm a little bit like introverted, but that being said, it's, you know, how are people going to hear your music if you're not out there playing it? So
do you use Ableton? Do you use Ableton as well?
Yeah.
How'd you find like learning that?
Well, I originated in Pro Tools. Well, I first did Fruity Loops and then Pro Tools, and I used Reason for a little bit and then Ableton.
I use Reason, yeah.
Yeah, and I find Ableton, I think it's like, for electronic music, it's definitely the most user friendly, I think, because of all of the like the warp feature and stuff. It's just a lot easier than like some other ones where you like quantize and do it differently. So I think Ableton, also like the built-in plugins and stuff within it are really good for electronic music.
I think like because Reason was quite limited back in the day, and now like most like softwares now, you're able to just buy plugins and you can do external plugins. You can even run two softwares now. I can run Reason with Logic.
Yeah. And
you can run Ableton with Reason now, so it's way more diverse to like mix stuff around now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what would be your like? How would you start a track and how would you finish it, and what would the time frame be?
Well, I play the music live, like either piano and singing, or guitar and singing, and then I'll just record just that in Pro Tools, and then I'll just process the vocals in Pro Tools, and then I just bring the vocals into Ableton, kind of like I make my own, I guess, remix. Yeah. So I take the stem, and then from there, then I do the rest in Ableton.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Just because I find Pro Tools is easier to edit, like more live stuff, like vocals, because of the playlists and the different things. Yeah. And then the rest is easier in Ableton.
I've never used Pro Tools, but people say to me, "Oh, you should move to Ableton," and I'm like, I feel like I'm cheating on Reason, you know. I'm like, I don't know if I want to. Like, everyone says Ableton's good, but I know everyone uses Ableton for like a live set play. Everyone, like, it's always used by like Richie Hawtin and all these big DJs, like Carl Cox, I think, uses it as well. So like, how long will it take you to make a track in total, start to finish? Well, start to finish to you, because some people say start to finish is 95% and the rest is mastering.
Yeah. I guess like often, I guess I could make a whole track in a day, depending on the thing. But it also could take like not the mixing part, just the making the
just
track.
The making, yeah.
I could make it in a day, but then like the editing and everything else is what takes a long time. Like if I'm doing like vocals, I'll have like 5 different vocals and it's the same track,
layers,
then I edit them all together. And then if it's guitar or any kind of live thing, I go in and edit it all perfect to the grid, just because I think it sounds a little better than if you say in Ableton you're using the warp. There'll be like a little bit of artifacts when you're dragging the note. You might change the pitch a bit, so I'll go in and crossfade all of the guitar.
Oh, really?
But that only works if you're playing a specific style of guitar where it's just like one note.
Okay.
If you're playing chords, you'll get artifacts if you're doing it that way. Okay. So that takes like 6 hours just editing.
I'm learning a bit here just from that.
Just editing all the guitar takes like you're just sitting and listening to another song and you're just repetitive motion of editing it and then put it together, and then it just sounds like really clean. And I'll have like maybe like 5 or 8 of the same guitar track, and then it sounds really full because you can have them spread across the stereo field. Yeah. And then the rest in Ableton, it's like a lot of it's just MIDI.
Do you mind if I just take some notes quickly?
Yeah, so it's like if you're just making the song and not doing the editing, I could do it in a day, and then the editing would take like another day, and then the mixing sometimes takes just forever, like weeks. Yeah,
I know that feeling. It takes me actually longer than that to do just put the track together, because I'm like no, and I just get pissed off and walk away, and then come back again. And
it's the best though to take some space from the track, and I think that like it depends, like how long does it take to make a track. I guess it depends what you're trying to say, you know.
Yeah, I ask people that, because some people say to me, it takes me like 2 months, and I think I ask this question because people, when I've asked people and I've chatted to people many times, they say to me, oh, do you think I should be creating more tracks more frequently to keep regular content out, or should I be making tracks because I want to make tracks that I enjoy and I think are good?
Quality over quantity.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like, and what would your guys' take on that?
I will focus on one track and get it down to when I really, really like it. It's mixed really, really well, and then put it out. Yeah,
because like a lot of producers like listen on the show, and I think some people getting so confused of like, I have to keep up so much content to keep relevant, and I think no, I think you need to just, you know, take a step back and just focus on you, stay in your lane.
Yeah.
And kind of like just
stop looking to other people.
Yeah, don't look at other people, man. Yeah, just like do your thing, because I think social media is bad in that way, because if you're like looking at what other people produce, you're like, why am I producing like that? And like, no, just stay in your lane, man, and just do your thing. And I'm a big believer of that. So I mean, I
think a lot of the time, if people are releasing stuff a lot, it might make it appear like they're just making it. Yeah. But really, there might be actually years of prep behind that. And like, I think a good way to do it would be you just take a few years of producing and you make like maybe say 6 or 12 songs, and then you have them finished, and then you make like a marketing plan, and then maybe say every month you release a single, but it's like you spent 2 years making all these things, and then you're relevant. And then every month you have a new release. It's
like tip of the iceberg effect, isn't it? You know, that picture where you see what people notice, but underneath the water is like the
100%. I just came up with that actually myself for like my business plan going into 2023. It's all planned out for the EP that I'm doing, like down to like on this day I'm working with this person, and then I have this engineer, and then we're going to do this on this, and like all, of course, stuff strays from the plan all the time, but to that point exactly. And then we have the publicist lined up at a certain time, and then the tour and all of the things, like
so take me through a step by step on that, because I haven't done that personally myself, but what's the step by step? So once you've made your track, then what would be the marketing process of that? Like, what would you guys think, you know, what would be the steps of marketing it and getting it out there, like that structure?
Well, I guess I've been talking to a couple different publicists, and I plan to start working with them mid next year. And just kind of honestly in the planning stages right now, about every like month putting just sort of like tidbit type things like out there, promoting that. And they have their own contacts promoting it to different like blogs. And,
So do you find that, or do they approach you?
I went and I found them.
You find them, yeah. Okay, yeah.
I just emailed a bunch of people.
Yeah. Because so anyone that's coming in like producing music, that's what they should do.
I would just like look up, get a music publicist. It's funny too, because now that I've been speaking to a couple different ones, I'm like, wow, you guys can help me do this. I'm like, I don't have to do it all myself. And they just like laugh. They're like, no, we'd love to help you. Like,
that's cool. That's good info actually, because so many people spend so much time on social media. I'll do the podcast and cutting everything, and I think maybe I should get some help. You know, so any other producers like listening, definitely should be.
And it's like I have people too just saying that like they just want to help, and that when like for instance like applying for grants and stuff, it's like there's no fee, they'll just take a percentage if I get that grant. So there's like if I get it, you know, and I'm just like, well, like, and I'm being given opportunities that I didn't even know were like existed, so it's kind of just like getting money given to like put back into music, which is amazing.
It's kind of like the entrepreneurship mindset.
I know, it is. I know. And I like my other things, like I have a clothing company and I have other business type things.
Oh, you do, yeah? Yeah. Oh, proper boss woman then.
Yeah, I love running businesses. It's fun.
There you go.
So, but with music, it was always just like my love, you know, my first love is music. This is just something I really enjoy doing. And now it's just like looking at it more from like a business standpoint. I'm like, well, I can pay my bills and keep doing this. Like, this is awesome. You know, it's just because it wasn't modeled to me when I was younger. Like, it wasn't like, this is a job. This is a career choice for you. Like, this is a hobby. go to university, you know, run your businesses, take care of business essentially. But now it's just like the more that I kind of switched my mindset, and I'm like, wow, I can actually make a living off of this. This is awesome.
Yeah,
so it's figuring that out.
I kind of feel the same. I grew up like everyone said to me, oh, you need to go and get a trade. Don't do university because you'll end up with loads of debt. No disrespect to anyone that does that, but you know, that was my journey, and everyone said to me, oh, in my family, do this. And I said, oh, I want to do music, and everyone was like, no, I don't think that's going to pay the bills. And I was like, well, I don't want to work doing construction. I loved doing it when I did it, but it wasn't what I wanted to do.
Absolutely.
And then now it's starting to, now I think social media's built up so much. I think people are starting to realise, I can do these opportunities, and I can like make a living out of this. And there's avenues for everyone to make a living doing what they want to do.
Absolutely.
So,
and it's like building that community, you know, where people want to support you, like the podcast that you're doing, or like, you know, going to support your artist, or buying tickets, or buying like their t-shirt, or whatever the case may be, you know, just like the more that we support each other, the more that we build up this community, the more we all can survive and prosper essentially in this field.
Especially in the music scene, because I mean, can't speak for other scenes, but like the music scene, I think it's been around for so long, and electronic dance music scene's all been about like all walks of life coming in, just raving to just smashing it on the dance floor, you know. And I think like that's what like we've been talking about with Vancouver. I think everyone's just like come from all around the world, all walks of life, you know, and they're just like fucking underground scene smashing it. Like, oh mate, this is sick.
And the nicest people.
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah, I've met some randomers like on the dance floor.
Oh yeah.
I met one guy. I went to Tobacco Dock for drum code. And I met this guy at the front. He was from America, and he loved dubstep. And I was like, he's like, oh yeah, I love dubstep. I said, I think you're at the wrong rave, man. If you don't like, he's like, oh, yeah, I don't like techno, but I've come anyway. I was like, well, fair play to you then, bro. Like if you just come for it. He's like, yeah, I think I can do it.
That's
I was like, okay, well, I couldn't go to a dubstep rave, but
yeah,
I could do a techno rave. But fair play to that guy. So,
yeah,
like you say, it brings all people sort of together.
Totally.
So.
And I think that like as we're all finding our paths and our sound and all of the things, like the lines are blurring a little bit too, because I'm not like the first one to be like, I love techno so much.
Yeah.
But like there's so many different genres within the genre, if that makes any sense. Which is cool.
It's cool, I was just finding it hard to keep up with all of the different genres, you know.
It's just like, do you like it? Does it, you know, make your blood whatever? Like, do you feel good? Or do you have feel? Then that's good. That's good music.
Yeah.
Call it whatever you want.
Because like in the UK, you get a certain amount of genres. And I came to Canada, everyone's like, no, there's these genres we have over here as well. I'm like, oh, God, yeah, okay. Okay, I'll try and keep up to date with all that and try and go to as many scenes as I can. But how did you guys, when you're like producing tracks and stuff like that, like what sort of plugins do you use? What like instruments do you have? Like, what is your studio setup?
Well, definitely use Serum. That's like a really go-to.
Serum's one,
yeah, I use that one a lot, and then I also use all of the output synths.
Okay.
They have like a lot of good atmospheric things. If you want to just add, there's just like space in the song. They have like a lot of good like background noise things, and then there's like arcade, and that's by output. I used like the whole Waves plugins, and then the isotope ones like Ozone and Neutron, different things like that. And then I use like Vocaline for vocals, and then I just got this amazing plugin called the God Particle.
Right.
So good.
It's like so good. So you put it on the final master, so you mix your thing like pretty much to it's ready to go, and then you put that on, and it just brings everything up. It's like one of the best things.
Really?
Like I showed one of my friends, Gisela and Giselle, they're DJs.
Yeah.
I showed her, and she was like, "Whoa, dude! Like, I need to get this plugin because it's like night and day difference."
Like, courtesy of Sam Ryan, the engineer producer. Yeah, he's just like the best.
I'm gonna check that one out. Actually, I didn't know about that.
Is so good.
That's what I love about doing this podcast. I get to find stuff as well that benefits, you know. Because I know lots of people use Abbey Road's mastering chains as well. Joel West, I know he uses it, and you could sometimes I bought stuff from Waves as well, some plugins, and on Black Friday they're giving away stuff for free. Like some of these free plugins are like wicked. And there's one I've got as well called the Sausage Fattener.
Oh, that's
yeah.
good.
It's like the most basic like plugin.
Sausage Fattener and Endless Smile. They're
The
both
Smile.
by Data Life.
Oh,
yeah, Endless
yeah.
Smile is really good too. It's like adds like ching kind of to
Oh,
everything,
okay.
which I like. The
Yeah.
ethereal type stuff. Yeah, it's
So
really good.
who'd you get to do your mastering? Or do you do it yourself? I know
Well-
people say, oh, you shouldn't do it yourself, but...
I hire people. I also I mix in Atmos, which is like immersive sound, like surround.
Is that the Dolby one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
So you have to have a special person to master that as well. So we send
Oh,
ourselves
wow.
to Toronto. So we master it twice.
So how'd you do that then? I know Deadmau5 does it, didn't he? He had that Dolby
Yeah.
Atmos.
Well, what you can do
Yeah.
is if you mix in Atmos, you can actually mix it, like flatten it down to stereo, which is really cool.
That's
so
cool,
it's like
yeah.
saving a step, essentially. It's such a new thing. Like I'm still learning a lot about it myself.
I
but
didn't know much about it, but you're
it's
teaching
really
me
cool.
right now.
You just like literally, where do I want this sound to go? Like, and you see like it's very visual. Like you pick up the sound and put it there, and pick up the sound, and I want this to
Wow.
happen here. It's really cool.
You do video as well, right?
Yeah. I've
So
been doing video
do you,
for a while.
incorporate that into your music as well?
Well, that's actually how I got into video. Is back when
Okay.
I was like 18, I was like, well, I want to be able to do everything for myself so that I don't have to like pay people, so I could just like be creative and not have to worry about having to spend money to be creative.
Yeah.
So I like watched a ton of YouTube stuff and like learned all I could about like filming, and then it was all just to like film my own music videos, and then I ended up just filming like weddings and real estate videos.
That's sick, yeah.
And then did like a reality show and just kind of went on from there.
They done a reality show.
Yeah, I did a reality show like 11 years ago in Saskatchewan.
Okay.
I
So-
just worked on that, yeah.
Jack of all trades then.
Yeah. Just kind of everything that I've learned kind of stems from me trying to do something for marketing for music.
Mm-hmm.
So then I don't have to pay other people. I can just like do it, or like mesh the creative things together, like make a song and then think about how the video would look, and then
As a producer and a musician now, I think you've got to do everything now as a musician. You can't only just be a musician. You've got to market yourself. You've got to do all your own video. You've got to do all your own content. You've got to produce. You've got to DJ. You've got to promote the events. You know, because you used to have promoters just for events, didn't you? You used to have, people for that job. But now, producers and DJs now have to do everything. Now you're not just a producer and DJ. So
It's kind of
yeah.
honestly, I think it's actually a kind of a good thing
Mm-hmm.
because, way back I was like, okay, I need to find someone to help me do this. I need to hire a person to do this. I need to hire, all like, how am I going to afford all of these things? But now it's just like, because of social media, I can do it all myself. Like, that's pretty cool. Like, I think we're given, it could be, I don't know. I see it personally as a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We're
And-
just giving a lot more power back into the artist's hand, So
Yeah,
I think
especially Bandcamp and that. Yeah.
yeah, it depends
Yeah.
like how you view it. Now there's like all the apps you can use to help you edit, and you can do the whatever. Like, you can do a lot of things on your own that you weren't really able to do before.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't need to wait for anyone.
Like, how did the collaboration start, and how did you guys meet in order to do that? Like, what sparked the idea to do that, to make the track?
well I noticed that a lot of the artists are becoming famous off TikTok.
Yeah,
So it's something like 50% of the new artists are people that start on TikTok.
that's true.
So I thought it could be interesting to make a track that could just be for TikTok, where it's like 15 seconds of something that could be a good clip that people could make videos to on TikTok.
Yeah.
So then we were just in the studio and we were drinking mezcal, and then
And she's like, we should do like a talking song.
What's-
I'm like, what's a talking song? She's
What's,
like, you
what's
just
mezcal?
mezcal?
it's tequila.
It's like a smoky tequila.
Oh, okay, so to interrupt,
really
I was just like, what's that?
Do you
Sorry,
want some?
I've got to drive home, but maybe another time. Yeah. So sorry, yeah, carry on.
Yeah, so she's like, where is that originated from? Is it Europe? It's like a talking kind of track.
Well, it was just, it was like kind of like a European kind of electronic vibe, kind of like with the talking, and then I was just like, yeah, let's just do like a talking thing. Let's just come up with whatever, and we were drinking, so we were just like mezcal, vodka. Gin.
She's like, I'm like, what should we say? She picks up the bottle. She's like, mezcal, vodka. I'm like, okay. So, and then she's like, just puts the mic in my face. She's like, okay, go. And I'm like, I don't know what to say. And you can hear it on the track.
Yeah.
And the mic's like still in my face, and I'm just like, just kept talking. And we used that. And now
So-
we made that into an NFT project.
So have they sponsored you yet or not? They need to step up their game, didn't they?
Yeah.
So how did you put that into an NFT then? I don't know nothing about NFTs.
No,
so
that's fair. So
please educate me on this.
So we just we thought like it'd be a good idea to take like a music video, and then you take moments of the music video, and then it becomes you're like owning pieces of it.
So like 5-second loops essentially. So 5-second loops of moments of the music video with the track attached to it. Which is then put onto, I guess, like OpenSea, and there's coding that's attached to the back of it. Okay. And anyone that buys that code, you buy the 5-second one-of-one original NFT like artwork, essentially. Okay. And then the utilities include, Lisa's making like a game, a PC game.
Just a simplified like game where you just go in and the track will be playing and you'll be in the club, and then you can just like drink. Yeah. So you can like listen to the game and the song and like drink in the club.
Drinking mezcal,
yeah. Mezcal, vodka, or gin.
There you go. Hopefully I'll take them and see if they sponsor you.
And then we're also going to have like discounts to our companies, like my company's Cassie Bamboo, and then Silent Discos. And then we'll have like wristbands type stuff to some of the shows that we play. So lots of really cool utilities. Hopefully we're going to be doing it at the FOMO Gallery next month. Yeah. So
that's the cool thing about music, isn't it? It's just so endless, isn't it? Like with everything, like the video, the NFTs, you know, everything like that goes along with it. It's mad. But one thing I've never done is I've never ever done a silent disco.
It's fun.
Never done one. So how does that work? Like, where'd you get all the headphones from? Do you buy them? Like, how does it all work? Like to set one up?
I met the owners of the. They create these headphones. They're the best headphones in the world. It's a company called Dreams Unlimited. Okay. And they're super hi-fi, like really like high fidelity headphones. So it's like 20 hertz to 20,000. Okay. And then they're like isolating, and then every headphone has like a volume on it, and then they light up to the channel. So basically, like we'll have 3 different DJs playing, and so the one coming up, we're gonna have drum and bass on one channel, house on another, and techno. So if you are like listening to the techno and you're like, oh, I kind of want to listen to house right now, you just push the button and you can listen to the house DJ.
So people dancing at random paces.
Yeah. But you might have like a friend that they're like, oh, I really love techno, and then they'll be like, oh, I like drum and bass. But it's like they can all gather in the same room and all have a good time together because it's all playing at the same time, and then that's cool. It'll light up. So like we have the drum and bass channel be green, the techno is red, and then the house was blue. And then I had like the lights around the blue DJ, it was like their lights were blue, and then the techno was like red, so everybody can see, and then they're all playing simultaneously.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So how does one person mix? Do you have like 3 sets of decks in?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the transmitter plugs into each of them, and then
fucking that's a setup, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And then because there's no sound, all the lights have to kind of be like pre-automated. Yeah. So I use like a software called Sound Switch, and so basically you run the songs through it, and then the AI auto generates a light show. Because normally lights they use like the mic, and then it will just like auto go from the mic.
Oh, when it triggers the mic.
Yeah, but because there's not that, then like otherwise it would just be like nothing would happen.
Yeah, obviously, yeah. Yeah. It must be weird, like being in the room and just taking the headphones off, and everyone's you can hear just
yeah. Yeah, it's funny when like people walk in, like some of my friends have walked in and they're like, wow, like everyone's dancing. Like when you first walk in and you haven't heard the music yet, it's just like a room of people just dancing. Yeah. And then like sometimes people will sing the words, and so it's like just here's like a few people singing, but like if you take the headphones off, there's no music, they're just singing.
Because like when you go to a rave, you think, I've got to listen to that for the music. You hear dun, 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 you know, oh yeah, it builds you up, right? But a silent disco, you're like, I'm going into a room and everyone's just dancing. I've never experienced it, so
it's funny.
I have to go.
We were like running them all summer, and it's funny because it really kind of took off. And a lot of my friends, seeing what I was posting, would message me like videos of like, look at my neighbors downstairs doing a silent disco, and they're like, all these people are just just like, it was even on like Love Is Blind. So my sister's sending me a video of like the actors or whatever wearing the headsets on the reality show. So it's pretty funny. Oh, that's cool. It did kind of just randomly take off this summer all over the place. Yeah.
Yeah, that's wicked. Yeah, I've never been to one. I'm gonna have to go to one. When are you throwing your next one?
On December 17th, we're doing a nice like Christmas one.
Oh man, because I got my Christmas work day, but I would love to come. So
we're gonna have a drum and bass channel, a techno and a house channel, and we got some great local DJs playing.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we've got Sun Chaser. She's a brand new DJ. It's
Oh,
gonna be her second show ever.
Really?
And yeah, she's been making music for like many years, and then she's just started DJing, and she's like really good.
That's cool.
So, yeah.
That's cool. What's your like home setup then? Have you got turntables or CDJs or just a tractor, or what have you got for your DJing setup at home?
Well, I got the Denon Prime Go, mostly just for the silent discos, just because it's battery powered.
Okay.
So it can run for 4 hours.
Oh, wow.
And it also controls lights out of it. So it's like compact, but it's got all the same things as like the Denon CDJs. It's just smaller.
Yeah.
And the nice thing about that is if DJs use Serato or Record Box, they can plug in and anybody can play. So like one time when we did the silent disco at Grandview Park on a commercial, there was this awesome drum and bass DJ. She came by and she was like, "Hey, can I play?" And she just like plugged her USB in, and
that's so old school.
It works. Yeah.
I love that.
She's like amazing DJ. It's cool how like we just have like these headlining people just rock up and play.
That's sick. Yeah, I love that. I love it's just like, "Hey, do you want to play?" Like, yeah, man. It's just like, it's kind of like an open deck thing, but it's kind of not.
Yeah.
And people just jamming off each other back to back in. Like, yeah, I love that. That's fucking wicked. So, what are like your future plans with your music?
Well, I'm putting out an EP next year, and then I want to tour 2024. That's the plan.
Touring worldwide?
Well, Canada, US. I have a lot of places in the US that are, in the works right now, which is really cool. We were looking at Australia as well. It's a little bit far. I have a 4-year-old, so it's kind of hard for me to go. But maybe. Yeah. But yeah, definitely US, Canada. Yeah. That's the plan. Just keep producing. I was producing for a lot of other artists, but now I think I'm just going to really focus in on doing a lot of my own stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. What about you, Lisa?
I have a ton of songs on my computer that I just need to like finish mixing.
Oh, okay.
And then I'm gonna put them out and then do the tour. I have a whole live show that I've made with the indie electronic. Mm-hmm. So I just never really got to do that tour because of the pandemic. So hopefully I can start doing some of those kind of shows too.
Yeah.
We're all like planning it together too. I think that was the plan for this year, and then it got to be a little bit too late, or I guess going into 2023.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
How do you how can I put it? How do you define your sound?
I mean, ever changing. Like lately, I've been like some of the recent stuff that I've been putting out. People say it sounds a lot like Grimes, which is cool. I've never really listened to Grimes, but I guess yeah, ethereal. I really like. It used to be like very heavily influenced, like I said before, by like hip hop, and yeah, it's moving towards like ethereal, like house type vibes. Yeah.
Do you think house has grown big over here? Because when I first came to Canada, it was all dubstep.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, that's the impression I got. I probably shouldn't have just assumed that. But before I came here, everyone was like, "You'll love dubstep if you go to Canada." But then when I came to Vancouver, everyone was like, "No, we do these underground parties," and it was all house and techno. So I was like, "Fucking okay, this is fucking pretty good." Like, it's even pretty better than some of the people that I used to do underground parties with back in the UK.
Yeah.
So I was quite happy with that. But how would you define your sound?
Like indie electronic synth pop, kind of like ethereal.
Yeah.
I guess.
Like bass house. Just kidding.
Bass house.
Bass house.
I've honestly kind of fallen in love with it. People really like it.
It's kind of come the back. It's come off the back of, I would say, of garage music or garage music, as North Americans would say. But yeah, I kind of feel like it's gone off garage music. You heard much garage music?
Yeah, like Euro trash. Is that the garage music?
Oh, I've never heard of.
It sounds like European grunge kind of vibe.
Oh, okay.
I
think garage for me would be more like. Have you ever heard of like DJ like an MC&E or DJ EZ?
I don't think so.
I don't know.
DJ EZ is like probably one of the. He did like the big. He done like a 24-hour set.
Whoa.
For like Defected for Charity.
Wow, that's a long time.
Oh, I think it was longer than that actually. He done it for 24 hours or 48 hours, but he done it for charity through the pandemic to raise money. I think it was money for people to have food and stuff, whatever.
Oh, that's nice.
But he done it and he was going the whole way. The guy's I think he's in his 50s, but he was doing it.
Wow.
And didn't stop. But I think his music was from the early 90s all the way to recent, and he plays bass house. He incorporates that. But if you're into bass house, like if you've grown on it, like
I mean, honestly, just recently, like I said, I just over the summer playing more of it, people just like really seem to like it a lot, or like just watching how they react when you play certain music. I'm like, okay, cool, like this is popular. I like it too. So yeah.
I like it. Like it did pick up, like Chris Lorenzo, Cause and Effect did a duo, Cause and Effect. That's the only one I know. And Flavor D. She's from Leeds in the UK, but she throws a sick bass set.
Oh, that's cool.
And that's how I kind of got into it. But she's quite big in the States now.
That's cool. Yeah, see, I really like bass. I have a lot of plugins too, like lots of bass. Every engineer I work with is like, you're gonna like this. This goes hard. I'm like, yeah.
I kind of think that does, and bass music kind of like also sounds like certain drum and bass as well. The same sounds in drum and bass music. Do you think like they're sort of like?
I guess sort of. Yeah. They kind of cross over. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you listen to other genres or try to produce other genres as well?
Oh, like so many genres.
Yeah, I
have like probably a song of every single genre on
oh,
my
really?
computer. Yeah.
How many tracks have you got?
Like thousands.
Yeah,
I've got like a whole indie alternative rock.
Yeah.
Like album. I have like punk rock. I've got like movie music where it's like piano and strings, and like I have like my attempt at rap, like, and then like a bunch of different genres in the electronic, like house, techno, like kind of chill electronic ambient stuff, like taiko vibes. Yeah, just like all over the place.
Yeah.
But I listen to a lot of stuff, so I think that's why. I might like I'll get like a song in my headphones, like off Spotify, that I'll listen to on repeat, and then I'll be like, oh, I want to make something like this.
Like Taylor Swift.
Yeah,
I made this Taylor Swift song.
Yeah, like I'm listening to Taylor Swift.
She's done well though, because she's redone all her tracks now, hasn't she? So she's got full rights to it. So fair play to her on that. So do you like? Do you mix other sort of genres, like when you DJ? Like, do you ever like push the boundaries on genres more than what you're comfortable in? Do you see what I'm saying?
Well, and so I was doing a show, and I wanted to have all original music for the show. So in a month, I made an hour worth of music for the show. Yeah. And then I tried to like incorporate what I like from other genres into the techno. So I wanted to add more melody, so I kind of made what I think is like kind of like cyber techno.
Oh, okay.
So I like was taking melodic elements and then having it on top, and then having kind of almost like old school breaks, like with acoustic drums. Yeah. In the breakdowns, and then it goes into the like typical kind of techno job. Yeah. So kind of meshing things that way.
And because we were just talking about that the other day actually, because I'm just a lot like. Some of the feedback that I've been getting from different like playlists or like bloggers or whatever is just like, I really like this, but I don't know what genre this is, and that's like it's a little bit torn by that, you know. So we had this conversation. Lisa's like, you're just kind of making your own genre at this point, because it's like it's kind of like Lana Del Rey mixed with Grimes and Tupac. Like, what the hell is that? It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. But it's just like trying to take the best elements of all the things that makes my heart beat and putting it into something that I hope other people will like too. And I think that's what music is about. That's what art is.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I think the hardest thing, you've got to think of a name for it.
I know. I'm like, what is this? But it's so funny. They're like, I'm not exactly sure what this is. I like it. They're like, it doesn't really fit in with anything else on my playlist because everything else has already been carved out. But it's like, I guess that's like, you're trying to be like innovative, right? You're trying to make something new. You're trying to like be true to yourself.
Because going when I said about pushing the boundaries in genres, I wanted to go into your sound thing that you do.
Oh yeah.
Okay, because you know people do stick to stuff, and like for me, I use jump up drum and bass as like the synths and the grittiness in that. I try to put that in techno. So like I know you guys mix with genre. Cool. Yeah. So because jump up drum and bass is very, it was very in the UK very. Frowned upon as like the underground kind of like naughty people music, you know. You're like, oh, you listen to that, you must not be classy and stuff. And it's changed now. It's and the guys really push that boundary. It's really good. But incorporating that into my music, that's what I do, and it's kind of different, I guess. And a lot of German techno sounds a little bit with a drum and bass element in it. because you have a lot of the kicks like dun, 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 like that. So when I go to say push the boundaries, how do you put your explain that to me, the whole what would you call it?
Well, it's just crystal sound bowls.
Crystal sound bowls, that's it. Yeah.
Like sound baths essentially. So I guess, well, for people that don't know what that is, there's certain crystal bowls that are tuned to a certain chakra. Chakras are like the main power points in your body. So there's 7 that are in your body. So every one of the 7 that are in the body are tuned to a certain note.
Oh,
so A, G. And when you play those, they're supposed to essentially like wake up, spin, cleanse, whatever, those chakras. And it's supposed to, so they say, which I believe, that it moves energy through your body. So it's like your energy, your body, the energy in your body wants to be in a constant movement. So when you're playing these bowls, it helps you meditate, drop into a different state of consciousness, and it just like kind of just gets whatever flowing. So with that, I just love music. I love sound, and I've been into meditation like quite heavily for quite a few years. But in terms of putting that into the music that I'm producing right now, I have been recording it because I'll do like TikTok or I guess I stream on different apps, and then I have it recorded at the same time. But I have yet to actually put that any tracks that I'm producing when it comes to like any kind of techno or house music.
Do you think you'll incorporate that into it?
Possibly.
Yeah, I think that'd be a cool idea.
Yeah.
You know, like for a build up, like, you know, doing that.
Well, especially too, because it's like my bowls that I have, well, the ones before, a lot of them just broke, unfortunately, so I had to replace a lot of them.
Are they quite delicate then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And a lot of them were tuned to 432, which is like the Earth's healing frequency, essentially. But a lot of music nowadays is 440.
Okay.
Which there's a whole down the rabbit hole thing about music that's tuned to 440, but a lot of music now is tuned to that. So I'm trying to make all of the stuff that I do tuned to 432 because it does make you feel better and more grounded.
Yeah.
So having that in mind as I'm producing music as well, because you can actually go into like Ableton and you can change the frequency that your music is playing at.
Yeah.
So
you kind of blow my mind there a bit with all this, because this
is like the sound. It does like there's certain bowls that I play, and like you can actually feel it inside of you. Like you have to experience it for yourself.
So for the first time the other day, I don't laugh at me, but for the first time the other day, I've done my finger on a crystal glass. Yeah. And it vibrated on my finger. I was like, what the? I've never done anything like that. People probably have done that loads of times, but I've never done it. And is that kind of is what it is then? But just on a bigger scale with these bowls that you have.
Yeah, and they're tuned to certain notes.
And they're tuned, yeah. A glass obviously isn't tuned to it, but these are specifically
tuned.
Wow,
yeah,
fucking hell.
Certain frequencies.
That's cool.
It's really cool. And it's really cool too seeing now more people getting like more and more into it, especially musicians. I'm like, doesn't this make sense? Like, you love music.
Yeah.
This is literally meditating to music that's helping you hopefully open up different like pathways, portals in your head or whatever, in your spirituality, like helping you kind of drop deeper within yourself to become more like authentically yourself, your magnetic self, that you're able to produce stuff that is more in tune with your heart, you know.
Oh,
it's like getting to know yourself better. Yeah, bring her.
My missus is gonna fucking love this, I'll tell you.
Yeah. And like right now I'm trying to do like everything by donation, because I know like the sound healing meditation stuff can get like pretty pricey for people, and especially if you don't even know what it is. You're like, why am I gonna spend all this money for, like, you know, we're going through a recession right now, or very soon. Yeah. So everything, as much as I can keep it, will be by donation. Just everyone come and share your energy, and just like I really believe that that's like, it's a different kind of music community, but I feel like it's all, you know, at the end of the day, it's kind of like one and the same, and we're all sort of in this together. So let's just like build this up together.
Yeah, that's a cool thing, man. I've never. It's the first time I saw it when I saw you do it.
Yeah, it's like all over my social media.
Yeah, I was just like,
everyone's like, what is she doing?
Yeah, I was like, that's something I'd eat my cereal out of.
Oh my god, I've heard that. It's a really big soup bowl. Yeah, I've heard that before. Yeah.
So how do you do it with your music then? Because obviously, putting emotion with video, like when you're creating your video, you got to make tracks to be like with video, you need music to match the emotion of the video. So how would your process be for doing that?
Like if the video's already done, or making the song with the video?
You're just making it. So like if you make a video, do you think, right, you thinking about the sound you've got to make for that video, or do you think build the track and then for the video. Do you see what I'm saying?
I think usually, like, sometimes with songs, I'll have like a vibe or an essence, like an end goal in mind of what I want to like portray, kind of thing. So, like, for example, one of the first electronic songs I ever made, I had an idea of this person that was like really famous but couldn't handle the fame, and then she like went to the mental institute and then drove off a bridge.
Oh shit.
And so in the song I just like thought, okay, how can I make this for the video?
Yeah.
And then I like recorded it, and then I thought, okay, I'll whisper into the mic and I'll say all of these things that people might think.
Yeah.
So there's whispering in the background of the track, and it's me saying like, oh, don't eat, don't, like, it's all these things, but you wouldn't know. And it's just like the sound of like negative thoughts.
Yeah.
And then at the end, when she's going off the bridge, I actually put all these audio effects and I reversed the sound. And it's weird because when I reversed it, it actually said my name is Ellis, which is really creepy. And I'm like, oh, maybe this is like
bit like what was the horror film? They go red rum.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I never ended up making the video though, because this was like 10 years ago, and I didn't have enough money to make a video where a car goes off a bridge. But yeah, but I just thought of that, and then it's funny because I made this song, and then my friends are like, "Hey, like, are you okay?"
I'm just being creative.
And I'm like, no, it's just a story I made up in my head. Like, it's nothing to do with me, and it's so it's just like I might think about like a story, and then.
Because you think there. Like Hans Zimmer, I watched Hans Zimmer when he watches a movie and he makes a sound with the movie, right? So that's why I wanted to ask you, because you know, like how was that process? Because
I did I made a short film with a bunch of actors here for the Story Hive one time, and there was different scenes. So I had it be like one long piece of music.
Yeah. And
basically all the characters there's all these different lives, and they intertwine and they get on a sky train, and then they're connected because the sky train is going to go off the tracks by a terrorist attack.
Yeah, okay.
So the beginning parts, it's just like calm piano, you know, background stuff because there's dialogue. So it just was instrumental, because I think if you have dialogue, you don't want to have lyrics in the background because it's distracting.
Yeah.
And then once they all come together, I brought in like kind of a suspenseful kind of like percussion elements and things. And then as soon as they get on the train, it's just like boom, boom. It's like, and then it goes back to like a piano thing, and then it goes into the.
That's cool,
like,
yeah.
And so it's like when you're doing that, it's like you think about. I actually made the song for that first, and then edited it to the.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So I'll like edit it on the timing of the notes, because I knew kind of that I was going to do that.
Yeah.
I think usually when you do the film, it may not go that way. Like you have to edit. You have to make the song in time with the edit. It really depends on the way that they do it. But I like to edit on the beat of the notes changing. Yeah. So I'll change the shot that way. So that's how I did that one, which is more of like a cinematic movie one.
That's cool. Yeah, so it's good that you've got two different genres that you both do with sound, but they both do the same thing, like for the emotion of things. Do you know what I mean? That's a good thing about music.
Yeah.
I'm just going to sort of brush up here. Is there anything else you want to like talk, like, you know, as we sign off, like, there anything you want to sort of plug away?
I mean, come to our NFT opening at the gala next month. That'd be great.
And people follow your social media, get all the information and stuff like that.
Yeah, we'll definitely be posting more about it. And
there's a silent disco on the 17th. It'll be a nice Christmas one.
Yeah, Christmas drum and bass.
Christmas drum and bass, house, techno.
Cool. Thanks very much for having me here anyway.
Thanks for
hope you've enjoyed it anyway.
Yeah.
Nice one. Thanks very much.
Thank you.